The fact is, the mind fluctuates. No one can argue this, you see. 1 minute I am feeling good, next minute I'm feeling tired. 1 minute I'm feeling at ease, next minute I'm feeling bored. 1 minute I'm feeling joyful, next moment I get bad news and I feel sad. It is the mind's reaction. It calls it cause and effect, and then it stores into the memory of the core of the mind or the brain itself. It's only the mind that fluctuates, you see. The mind has to give an identification to what is taking place. That's its job, that ego state. I have to identify with what is taking place. You could say in a negative way or positive way, whatever way you look at it. When someone inflicts harm on another, maybe some sort of official policing or bureaucrat or whatever wants to stop the event or wants to find out what happened in the event, who was to blame, who was not to blame, says, I need to identify what happened, what took place. So it calls in the witnesses, and the witnesses have to identify through a fluctuating mind what took place and what didn't take place without emotional connection. Absolutely impossible, you see. Absolutely impossible. What human being is emotionally disconnected to an event that has been highlighted in their past as a very serious offence or a very dangerous offence? I don't mean to use the word offence, dangerous experience, you know. The word experience. When you experience this, it's a bad thing. When you experience that, it's a good thing. The mind is learned into identification and how far it can fluctuate. Therefore, take it from this apparently enlightened mind, to experience the Sat, Chit, Ananda, incredible joy, bliss state is worth it in comparison with depression, anxiety, suffering, and all that self-harming nonsense. They're both states of mind. What experiences the states of mind? The end product is the body. The body experiences that Sat, Chit, Ananda state, and it also experiences the depression, the stress, the anxiety, and that self-harm on itself. The contented being, Buddha, the average, middle. When you say middle, no, centered is more apt word to describe it. When you're centered, when you're balanced, when you're contented, when you're average, you're experiencing the whole of existence in that present moment. So if your mind says it's not great, it's not Sat, Chit, Ananda, then the mind has more work to do. It has more temptation. It has to tantalize you. But who are you that the mind is tantalizing? Who are you that is average? Because you're not average. You see, the mind is trying to do the best job in the world to try and replicate a version of what it serves you as. But it's impossible because you're beyond. You're beyond opposing values. You're beyond mind, beyond fluctuations, beyond birth and death. The mind gives an idea on you and it It says, this is where you are, this is who you are, this is how I'm going to do it, okay? Whether you like it or not. And you say, I don't know the difference between liking and not liking, so I'm okay with that. So you tag on to the tail end of the roller coaster of mind, and mind takes you on this amazing journey to the heightened states of enlightenment and to the lowest states of that torturous suffering mind, that depression. And everyone wants to find the pleasure. Everyone wants to find the pleasure. And when a few want to find the pain, they're deemed as weird. But pain and pleasure are the same. From the contented, balanced being that you are, pain and pleasure make no difference to the quality or the quantity or the experience in your life. It wasn't a sat, chit and under state when you came into this body, when you took your first breath. And it wasn't, this is disastrous state. It was just, oh my God, look, I am here. What the hell is going on? But you don't like it. Or your parents say, no, I want you to be happier than what you're looking right now. And when you cry, your parents say, I don't want you to cry. It's not good to cry. So you err for the side of pleasure, you err for the side of enlightenment, you err for the side of, that idea and concept that through time I will experience the most intimate of gods. And all the time you are that most intimate God. You have many tentacles. You have the Sat Chit Ananda tentacle. You have the happy tentacle, the sad tentacle. You have the depressing tentacle, the suffering tentacle, the painful tentacle, the pleasurable tentacle. But they all register to I. I am the one that has all these tentacles. The speaker has nothing to say about a heightened enlightenment or suffering. There is a major shift through consciousness, or there was a major shift for this one. So you taste both sides, and then you meet yourself halfway and say, what the hell was all that about? And you realize that so many are still seeking for that Sat Chit Ananda state to overcome this depression state, and you say, well, go for it. Yeah, be there. You've sacrificed a lot being in a body. You've taken on an ownership of a body. You've taken ownership of responsibility of whether you're a parent, a son, a daughter, a friend, a neighbor, a mother. You've taken ownership. Why the hell should you not experience Sat Chit Ananda? What is it that it's going to maintain? And the mother that you are, or the son that you are, or the whatever you call yourself, person that you are, that's watching all your family and friends, all the people that have gave you support throughout the years, just milling about doing their usual stuff, and you're up in cloud heaven looking down, and they see you as looking directly in the eyes, but you're looking down, and you want to bring them up to this heightened state, but you can't, because there's no teacher out with you that can do it. There's only the teacher within us all that can do it. So you come on and you come down and you reach a level to say, okay, I can teach better from this level. And you share your experiences, and you come on to YouTube and TikTok and whatever it is, Facebook, whatever it is, Instagram, and you share your words, you share your stories, And all you're doing is pointing at the teacher that is within each one that is listening. But they don't listen, you see, because they think you are the teacher. No, you're much greater than I am. Christ was greater than his disciples. Buddha was greater than the Tibetan monks. Ram was the greatest Hindu. Rumi the greatest Sufi. But all the time, if you look at what they're teaching, they're saying, no. Don't look at me. Look at your me. Look at your me. And your me will lead you to that sat, chit, ananda state. And then you'll realize when you meet God or Christ or whatever it is that your consciousness that you think is waiting for you, when actually is waiting for you. And it will look at you like that flat line, lucid, what do you call it? Lake, translucent lake. And say, wow, this is just peace. Or this is just balance. Where did the joy go? Where did the suffering go? This is just absolutely as it is, as it should be, as it will remain, as it never moves from, until the fluctuating mind says, no, let's go on a journey. You want to go up or down into the elevator, you see? And your conditioned religious mind says, well, God is up, so I want to go up. And it takes you to depression and suffering. And then you say, no, I want to go down to hell. And it takes you to enlightenment and awakening. And you say, what the fuck? It's all wrong. They're cheating me. They've always cheated me. All the teachers, including this one, is cheating you. The only teacher that will not cheat you is the one that is within you, within I. There's no opposing states. There's no difference between happy and sad in this world. But you have to meet yourself in this world. Shake hands, sit down, and both look at the same sunset, which is the same sunrise, which is the same looking, which is the same one, which is that, what it is. You see, there's a time in every moment, you see, where the mind gives up, distinguishes itself, and then destroys itself. It is imperative that the mind dies. Consciousness, the creator of all bodies and all minds, it has the same as any other computer, an infinite possibility to hold infinite information, billions of gigabits. But consciousness, like any other computer, every now and then has to upgrade or clean itself out. And every human body has to clear itself out. Clear itself out of the information, the knowledge, the ideas, the thoughts, the fantasies, and the possibilities of needing anything more than just being at peace with itself. The only purpose for a human being or any living form is for it to be at peace with itself. It sounds strange to the challenging mind, to the needful mind, to the wanting mind, the desiring mind. It sounds, no, I'm already at peace with myself. I want to experience fluctuations of overwhelming bliss, depression every now and then, a kind of anxiety, a suffering. Because the human mind knows all of these needs and desires are passing. And they're never permanent. Because a computer has a delete button. And the body has a delete button. And the mind has a delete button. When you look out your window and the sun is at its highest and the sky is blue and the greens of the landscape and the flowers and the scents with the birds chirping in the background and the sounds of the ripples on the lake. When you see all these, the mind tells you a story about it, makes poetry out of it, makes shapes, colors, emotional reactions, sensations, and entices experiences to walk in it, to breathe it, to swim in it, to love it, to be kind to it, to paint it, to make music out of it. But that what looks out that same window and says, I am at peace with myself. It's when the mind stops operating, turns around, and acknowledges that what it serves. Consciousness. That's all I am. That's all I know. That's all there is to know. When consciousness, myself, is at peace and one with this encapsulating moment. The mind calls it life and time. I calls it still, silent, and stable. And consciousness leaves it unnamed, but truly loves it. In any way it sees itself, it is exasperated by what it sees, and it uses the mind to smile and celebrate and worship and replicate a version of what I is. What else to say? What else is needed to know? I am not this person, not this body. I am not living, dying, and being born. I am simply here. I am simply the sound of life itself, appearing and disappearing throughout this eternal and pure, tranquil limitless. One moment. I want to pay thanks to that voice that destroyed my mind, destroyed its needs and desires and wants to establish something more than what one truly is. To understand the flower, you can look at it, make something out of it. You can paint it, you can make names, you can smell it. But when you go down into the stalk, into the roots, you find something that gave birth to it. I gave birth to myself. Consciousness gave birth to I. God gave birth to its consciousness. At primary school you get told the basic: God gave birth to all. At primary school they sum it up. They make it easy. And then they tell you, let's break it all up. Let's make it difficult. Let's make it challenging. Let's make it exciting. Let's make it painful and hard. But let's make it. In any which way, it is here to be made. By the mind. But the mind struggles to make something true out of what it represents. Because the mind is in awe of its own beingness, its own consciousness. It's foolish to try and share the truth of oneself. It is the same truth as every oneself, but it is the path that differentiates each one to discovering the truth. Each flower is different, each stalk different qualities, different thicknesses. The roots also uniquely individual. But the seed is. Mind is no longer required to go beyond the seed. When it falls, it dies, and that what remains, mindless and tranquil, pure and empty. Me. Just me. Thank you for the time. Thank you for being here. I goes as this mind, leaving behind a love that is never tarnished, never enhanced, never destroyed, always is and always. Yes, in brief, yes. God, some significant superior source, presence. Yes, it destroyed myself, me, the person mind, with one single colossal voice. This voice, it encompass the universe, within myself, out with myself, and beyond. One moment. One infinite moment. Nothing else. But of course, no. If it wasn't this God, or whatever, simply recognizing the commitment from that is destroyed, the me, more of a stopping this desire of discovering me. Let's stop this guy in his discovery of his ego me, and let him begin to recognize the life and this gift that was offered and accepted by the being that is beyond me. This 7-year journey of surrendering to this enlightened mind, it was ceased in one moment, automatically. No more, said this voice. No more seeking. No more of this foolishness. No more of this Sat Chit Ananda overwhelming joy state. What body can maintain this pleasure, this joy, this vibration? What human man or woman can shine like Krishna, like Shiva, like Christ, like Buddha? Only the chosen. So you have to stop. So this whole surrendering, this whole encompassing love was taken away. This whole 7 years of surrendering was ceased in that godly moment. But now, how? How can whatever that picked itself off the ground, could this one be safely landed back into this earthly body from this original being space into squirming back into the flesh and bones and blood of death? How was this one going to cope, you see? The dissolution of joy replaced by the creation of God, replaced by tough, get yourself back. Simply like the ocean, changing direction so that the tide, when the sea is leaving the beach of France, it is rising on the beach of England, and then it changes direction and back again. It's like the ocean trying again to create a single wave. Which wave will I be this time? You've no choice, says God. The body lying over there is yours. Get in. Or make way for another, you know. There is only the ocean, you see. The experience of this voice is just a reminder that the ocean has to be allowed to remain as what it is, and that there's no examiner and there's no mind that can examine the whole ocean in pieces, in sections, in tides, in waves. Just accept the ocean as it is, and everything will be as it's meant to be. You'll turn up in this body, whoever you are, and you'll experience and you'll die. And then whatever will be the next move will be the next move. Some of the wisdom that remains is, yes, I get it. I actually get it. I now know. This I now is reborn and knows. We are not here to find God. We're just here to represent God. We're here to represent the ocean. Be full, be whole, be accepting, be respectful, be trusting, have faith that the ocean cannot be dissected, it cannot be broken up. As like the universe cannot be broken up. Just a thought that I am a minuscule thing in this ocean of universe. And the body, of course, and the mind, of course, it is. But to represent God, if you represent yourself as that minuscule body, as that minuscule mind, you're just doing it in service. Be whole. So, the warning is, unless you're Buddha, unless you're a chosen one, unless you're Christ, the idea of finding God for you is the beginning of another type of suffering. The suffering of a different quality of ego. It's just as dangerous as any ego state is. It was, of course, within the voice that lessons that sifted through as a kind of token gesture. You're going back, but I'm going to give you some more tools to work with this time. I'm going to give you a better quality of mind to work with. So within this voice, lessons appear that a true human purpose is vital. And we are truly evident. I wouldn't say evident, truly needful for God to be here as a human and represent this wholeness, this oneness. But we're not doing a fucking good job, that's for sure. So you have to take ownership in a very egoistic way and say, well, okay, we, the world, are not doing a good job. The world being all people, as far as the ego mind is led to believe. No, your world is not doing a good job. Your mind is not doing a good job. What do you have to do, to do a good job? Well, the lesson is, it's the ability to be humble, the ability to create, be grateful, and trust that I simply am this gift. I simply have the name of God, it. And that part of God that is me is separate from I. But I is not separate from it in the term of the word and the syllables. It cannot be here without being spelled I-T. I is the person, the me, the mind, the being, the human, the ego. T is the cross. That's the symbolic lesson from the Bible and Christ. You cannot represent God until you take ownership of your cross. We have to suffer when we think we are God. So therefore, the suffering is the cross. And when the you go on the cross, when your mind begins to suffer, you'll realize that you are on this friggin' cross. And that it's so foolish to put yourself on the cross. Because the evidence is there when Christ said, I am giving myself up for the people that I serve, God, so that they don't have to go on the cross and they can remain as I and forget about it. You, Father. To be I is to represent it in its wholeness. It is the Father, I the child. See, when let's call it God, spoke, it opened its whole intent, destroying all that I was, the mind was, the ego was, the me was, as well as what I had achieved, appearing as if I had sacrificed everything, given everything up, and was on some sort of bliss state, feather-like journey, being led, spoon-fed by Christ, into actually me doing all the work. Well, when God speaks this voice, it completely exposed this me as a fake. Even the journey, fake. All your names, fake. Your stories, fake. Your whole ideas and concepts of what life is about, fake. Your mind itself, fake. One knew immediately that whatever I was not I, not me, not the fake. But there was nothing there that could find out what the true me, or the true I, or the truth itself was as true. The symbol of God was the place, the tower, where all infinite possibilities of God is seen as clarity. And it's in this moment, this revelation, this moment, it was here now. And here now is not in time. Here now is not past and future. And this being the opposite, that in a moment I'll be in the past, or I'll be in the future thinking about the past. There is only here now. There is only this moment. There is only love. There is only consciousness. There is only life and I, as God is. We are fortunate to have some sort of religious teachings as a child, to make comparisons of what was taking place in this moment into what we were told. See, the religion that I learned as a young child explained that God was not here and now, but up there into the sky. One day in the future, I may meet this God, or I may not. But it's not, I'm not representing God. I am a minuscule flesh and blood body insignificant, quite inferior, quite meaningless towards God. And then suddenly God says, now, here and now. No wonder there's tears. No wonder there's gratitude and a feeling of, thank God I surrendered. Thank God I was not able to face up to my death. It's a kind of bravado, but in a negative way, you see. Don't be silly. You don't give up yourself, your body and your mind. What if there is no God? Well, sometimes you just have to, trust in that guru within. This voice said, just replicated Christ's words within the wisdom of this one moment. Through me I will reveal the way. It was a lesson. It's not saying you will reveal the way. It's echoing Christ's words, but with the knowledge that I have to take these words. God is forcing me to take these words. Christ is forcing me to take. Why? What do I do with these words? And then you pick up St. Thomas and you say, wow, Christ is not speaking about himself in any of this book. He is giving the opportunity for us all to be free. And no more cross, no more suffering, no more me, no more you, no more I. Just simply all is as it is. But you have to be very careful that you don't project that Christ gives you the words and then you repeat them, so you must be something special. That's the conditioned, divisionistic me mind that says there are differences between us all. This moment that I experienced, this moment that whatever mind died to, is the moment that we all are experiencing right now. But if you believe in time and superiority and hierarchical status and all that stuff, you're going to say, yeah, you did it on Tuesday, so you must be better than me, but I can do it next month, and I will get a better experience, and I will be better than you. And we'll go on chasing and competing and comparing and measuring until, there'll be no end. Because the ego does not want an end. And there is no end, but the ego thinks there's an end. So the ego has to put things into action, into experiences, into thoughts, into desires, into needs to say, because the ego does not know there is no end. The ego believes it knows better than God, and it thinks that God has an end. So it has to fight for a longer time. In fact, it actually believes I can create something that has no end. And all the time, there's no end. So, maybe an opportunity to look at the state of this speaker, this narrator. See what your mind is making of what has been spoken about so far. If you're actually understanding any of it, then the speaker has not fulfilled its role. If you're still in the midst of it and you're trying to get out of it, the speaker is slowly demoralizing your mind. Don't try to get out of it. just fall into it. The state of the speaker. This speaker, throughout these random words, has appeared as the teacher, the contradictor, the controversial, the optimist, the knower, the informer. In fact, every state that holds no meaning of order, and to capture another into a particular state, a selected state. So what is the options, and what option, if there are options, did the speaker choose? To be a form and believe only in the form state is to become the I am, a person state, and live out this life totally content of this experience. To be a soul or spirit is to remove the idea of being form by a total dissolution of mind, and sitting as a nobody with non-participation and non-attentive towards order, rules, regulations, and be free of mind is to become the am I spirit state and live out this non-life totally content of this non-experience. Now, when I am is proven as an experiential state, and am I also a non-experiential state, still a state of non-experience. Remember, every opposite is a something state or a nothing state. The opportunity and the only purpose to overcome suffering and opposites for all to become one value of contented love is to be in a body. This body is capable through a guiding mind to realize what dwells within it and fully experience this pure consciousness that not only drives this body and its life, but drives the universe with the same power, the same joy. To experience beyondness, which is all-encompassing God named one moment, inverted commas, one has to surrender the whole idea of living as a body. This is done through the words of Christ, guided by the Spirit, and taken to the other side, inverted commas, which is revealed deep within the core of being. The hara, the internal umbilical cord, is that connection. The Hindus say to Vishnu, my state is the connection to eternal life as consciousness. This ongoing ribbon that hangs from the maple eye. Then something feels its way down this cord to reveal the spirit and soul of oneself. Inverted commas. St. Francis of Assisi said, I knocked on the door, and when it opened, there was I on the other side. The self's reflective soul that has been forgotten until realized through an internal seeking inquiry is on the other end of that I. This state of nothing, where the seeker totally dissolves as the nothingness, is a beautiful and tranquil merging, where the mind is quiet and nothing stirs. Life as one used to know it, and one still participates effortlessly in this nothing matters, nothing is happening, nothing exists, stateless state. Both sides have been fully experienced and overcome to the delight of the Holy Spirit, who departs at this stage. But its final duty is to reward the being, a meeting with the one moment God, an experience where the tongue is now permanently glued to the top of the mouth, unspeakable, where the eyes are blind by what is unseeable, where the sound of its voice deafens the universe and plugs all ears, unrecognizable, where the hands are infinitely tied and nailed to the cross, untouchable, and the lips are moulded into a permanent, grasping, fixed, and unable to shut gasp, indescribable. The wisdom that precedes this shock is not the wisdom to help one gain recognition, but the wisdom always given before departing from God into this world of ideas, concepts, an illusional dream. God is all the person as a reflection of that as this is. The soul is the same reflection as that together. Something appears as this, and that has gone. The wisdom is simple, to realize myself as a reflection, albeit in a temporary body of myself. God thinking, I am that, and I am reflecting that I am. The final stage of the journey that never took place is to allow everything to be balanced, mind, body, presence, and accept every state as the same state, the state of love. Finally, all becomes one, and only the whole is seen, and I am that I am disappears to reveal God, that beyond, as this beyond existence state. This experience is so similar to Sri Nisargadatta because his words resonate and reflect the experience from the speaker. All that remains is a recollection of my old body person state that changes every moment, a recollection of meeting my spirit self, and that also changes every moment, and finally a recollection of the one which never leaves, never changes, and reinstates a never not knowing truth. This meeting blew the body and spirit back into the abyss of being, or as Rumi puts it, to the beginning. This place holds the door to the mystery that all immortals at some point will reach, but no one can enter until all beings have overcome this need to experience oneself as all states of God, and then, and only then, when all gathered with their individual piece of the puzzle, can the door be opened. And on the other side is the already replica puzzle in completion, designed before any of this began. Heaven, paradise, the infinite beyond paradise, where we all unknowingly dwell right now. But with these words, seek and ye shall find. In one moment, the unknowing may become the knowing, and reflectively the knowing becomes the unknowing. One knows where heaven exists, but one does not know what it consists of. Heaven is God, and all that stems from heaven inwardly and outwardly is God, stretching into the cosmos, is God limitlessly falling into the abyss of itself. Every living and non-living dwelling within this vast something and nothing existence is God. In truth, as truth all is God. The most profound statement left from a single being's dissolution and rebirth journey is this: God is nothing, God is something, but when something and nothing merge, God is. Or in name, it is. Whatever one is not. I, not a name, not an identity, nothing identifiable nor unidentifiable to any mind. To say one is soul or spirit or consciousness or even God dampens what one is. But to say one is not soul, spirit, consciousness or even God in the same breath also opposes and dampens what one is not. This singular opposing name creates a massive division to all other names. The sour taste in the body when one says, I am This or I am that is the most foolish and suffering act. Best way to describe what is to say simply this: the unknown is witnessing the unknown as the known unknown, and that is what it is. All is whole and unknowable. The most profound mystery lies in every state, and in every state the unknowable is revealed to itself, but to no other knower other than itself, the unknown. These words were written about 2016, 15, 16. The first time I've ever read them. I don't remember writing them. I don't remember the state of the speaker. I don't remember who I am. But they make sense, because within all these words there are 4 worlds that shine reflectively through every word and every experience. And these words are the state of love. Namaste Om.